YouTube, what is up? We are back with another upper body ripper. I have been a bit of a bum and keep forgetting to bring either one piece of my camera. Yesterday I brought my camera, all the mics, and I forgot one of the SIM cards like an idiot, so I wasn't able to record yesterday's cleans and lower body, but we got after it there. We're not doing snatches because we had cleans yesterday. I got my schedule a little bit jacked up with the Hit Tracks tournament this past weekend. And then there's 2 other days last week where my battery died or the microphone died. So it's just total crapshoot, but totally on me. We're gonna be more prepared. The goal is to continue to do these videos that we've been doing. We got the podcast coming out, so that's gonna start up in 2 weeks coming up here. And then I really gotta get back into doing just one long form where I sit in front of the camera and go over and discuss a topic, just because 1, I think it's a skill set that I would like to grow on, and 2, it's kind of videos that I enjoy making, and it's something that I feel like is pretty helpful, that there's not the distracted like lifting in between, which I think is powerful and it's fun. I think these videos are like talking where I am rather than like talking to where I want to go. I think there's a lot of magic in unscripted kind of talks, but I also believe there is magic and power in having some sort of scripted talk, especially for my creative brain that kind of goes all over the place. So we are going to be doing one longer form video a week where we sit down and we cover an actual topic and there's no lifting involved. So we're gonna get back on the grind there and just kind of putting that out there to hold myself accountable. So we just got upper body, no snatches today, and then we're gonna go climb again after. We've been getting back into climbing like once or twice-ish a week. Started 2 weeks ago, so this will be week 3, getting back into it, and I'm pretty excited to get back into that grind. So let's get after it, let's go. So we got these 1-plate decline bench press. We're gonna work up to 1 rep max. After the 1 rep max, we're gonna hit a 20 rep drop catch ripper there. So we get the 1 rep max stimulus press in there, and we get a little bit of that volume piece with the 20 rep drop catches. I've been really enjoying the drop catches. If you wanna feel sore like you've never felt before, do those drop catches, man. That stretch that you get. I know a lot of people have been following Dak's journey and like the hypertrophy that he gets from it, but man, there's nothing that gives that like deep hypertrophy type feeling stimulus like those drop catches. And I think a lot of it is just because it is a novel stimulus. And I know once you get into those drop catches, it goes away a little bit, but those like first couple weeks when you get that like really high velocity drop in there, into that stretch, into that press, man, it feels absolute money. So let's rip, build up to a 1 rep max. Let's get it. So we have a lot of talks about should kids lift, should kids train, the dangers of training, the dangers of back squat, all this stuff. I started with a new group of athletes yesterday. I'm gonna try and keep it confidential, but if they watch the video, they know who I'm talking about. So if you get roasted here, I'm sorry, but you probably kind of need to be roasted here. And I was asking them, it was their first time, and it's like an unaffiliated group. So like I don't really know them, they don't really know me. I'm talking to them. And I was like, what grade are you guys in school? I'm like looking at them, and I thought they were 6th, 7th graders maybe. They told me they were sophomore and juniors in high school, man. Like, it actually blew my mind. I could not believe these are gonna be high school athletes. They are high school athletes. And it's in the baseball world where skill is a big component, but it's like these kids are so under physically developed that they legitimately looked 5 years younger than they actually are. And they have to step up on the plate, play some savage. Kids are so focused on the technical aspects of their swing, so focused on like, they were pretty high neurotic kids asking about a lot of questions at the gym, which is cool. Like it's one of their first experiences in here. But they were so worried about everything. It's like, dude, you guys just need to go freaking eat some food and train, right? And I really do. I just saw that. It was such a like eye-opening moment. It's like, that is the absolute definition of the dangers of all this sports science shit that we're talking about, is they're so focused on all these other things that they look 5 years younger. They're 5 years underdeveloped from where they are because they're not just going and being a bunch of fucking meatheads and ripping weights in the weight room, right? Literally any program other than the science that they're following and the smarts that they're following and the special camps that they're following would be better than what they have ran up to this point. They could have found an old T-Nation article and ran a Russian volume training program and been double the size of what they are right now. And again, these are not bad athletes. These are not athletes that have trained a long time and they're like the hard gainers. These are just athletes that have been sold the lie that you need to train sports specific and you need to train a certain way and you need to focus on technique and skill and all these things. It's like, there's no amount of skill that's gonna make up for being your size, and there's no amount of skill that'll make up for the lack of power and force development that you have. So it was just a massive eye-opener seeing it. I legitimately thought these kids were in 6th and 7th grade, and they ended up being 4 or 5 years older than that. And it's honestly kind of sad because now it's like they're at a point where, I mean, obviously if you're a sophomore and you train for 3 years, you can make massive gains in your program and massive gains in your athletic development. But it's like a lot of these kids are just so far behind, and it's gonna be, and not only behind physically, but behind psychologically in the approach that they need to take to training that it's going to be nearly impossible for them to catch up, all because some strength coach wanted to feel important, some sport coach wanted to feel important, sport coach wanted to feel smart, and spout off a bunch of bullshit that they don't know anything about. So if you're a high school athlete, you gotta go fucking train hard. And train hard to the point in which you are forced to ask the questions about sports performance, you are forced to ask the questions about skill, to where you are the weight room warrior. And I'd much rather you end up being the weight room warrior, where you're the strength coach's best friend and a sport coach's worst enemy, because we can go and fix that in the back end, right? Like if we get to a point where you're spending too much time in the weight room, too much time on the weights, then I can just tell you, hey dude, like we need to just spend more time on the field and with your skill, and we can go and do that. But switching that thing around and trying to physically develop these kids, especially if they want to be college athletes, which a lot of these athletes do, which is why they're training and then spending the money on this stuff, it's going to take a long time for those kids to catch up. And it's going to be even harder psychologically to switch their mindset over to where they don't just need more baseball swings, they need 10,000 more calories and lift a lot more weight. So it was just kind of something, it was kind of sad, honestly, and it was something that I just like realized what our field has done. And it's why I'm so passionate about it. I really do believe that in some regards we need to dumb things down, make it cool again. And a lot of our athletes just need to go be meatheads. Again, the special athletes are different. I think a lot of times we use those one percenters. And honestly, like guys like myself, and I've fallen into that category where I was a one percenter in the weight room, and I was so much of a meathead that I needed to go into more skill set, and I was sold that. And it actually did help me because it actually was what I need. And then you look at the general population, the general high school athlete, and the number one thing that is going to help them is just entering a weight room and eating a lot of food. So just a little story I had. Let's go lift some weights. Let's go. Freaking left for like 10 seconds. I set my energy drink over there to go take a piss. I came back and somebody had thrown away my energy drink. So it was like 3/4 full of a C4. So it's probably a sign from the caffeine gods that we don't need more caffeine today, but a little pissed off about that. That kind of sucks, but let's get after this caffeine free. And by caffeine free, I mean, I consumed 400 milligrams already today, but it's not currently flowing straight into my veins. All right, last triple. We'll get the singles. In between this, we've been doing some spine moves, some depth drops. I'll show those at the end. Just gonna kind of meathead bench here before we get to that. Let's go. Moving this decline bench without a spotter. This is the only one that I really like a spotter for, especially on this like sketchy ass setup to kind of get that lift up and over. It feels like I'm kind of just like pressing it. It's a weird little press. So it's probably gonna get heavy pretty quick, but if we can get the lift off right, we should be able to dial in. Let's go. Oof. God damn, it's like a whole press off the start. I should probably bring that setup so I can just pull it up and over, but the dead stop was more weight than the actual press. I had probably 10s or 5s and keep ripping. Let's go. All right, we raised these pins up a little bit, but haven't kind of beta tested it, so we're either gonna die here or it's gonna feel way easier. Just a little rant here. Businesses, gyms, places that play music, like commonplace music, I get you have to be politically correct, but for the love of God, switch up your playlist. The gym that we're working out right now, they have the kids coming in, so they're playing their playlist. I have heard these same 4 fucking songs 500 times, and so have the kids. It's like there are 9 million politically correct, no swearing playlists out there. Pick a new one for the love of goodness. Holy crap. We cannot be doing this. We cannot be doing this brainwashing thing. When I was an intern at a place called ETS, we had the same playlist that had the same 40 songs on it. And we heard those same 40 songs probably 400 times a week. I'm like, what are we doing here? Again, I understand the no swear word. I understand making like a good playlist, especially if you have kids in there, so you're a good influence and all of that jazz. I get it, I really do. But again, we have so many songs to choose from, so many curated playlists already to choose from. It's just lazy to pick the same songs over and over again. Holy crap, I'm gonna go nuts if I hear that song again. Let's go. Oh, so much better. I don't have to do the press. Make things easy, you get rewarded for it. Let's go, keep adding weight. A little 3-plate banger here. Elbow's been a little tenderized from the spike and softball swings that I have. We're swinging every single day again, hard. instead of more placement swings and being outdoors and working on things. Like today we had a max exit velo day. Yesterday I did a little bit more of a bat speed day. And especially when I'm working with those heavy bats, we're implementing the driveline bats again just to really things dial back in. And it's the off season, so a really good time to do it. But that the heavy bats and the deceleration tenderizes that elbow a little bit. But the bench actually isn't bugging it too much. The depth drop plyos, that higher velocity type movement, and anything where I'm like throwing and like releasing on it doesn't really feel great. Just telling me it's probably a little bit more tendon ligament issue in there. We're still gonna send. Let's get after it. Let's go. Oof. Oh, that rep was not nearly as clean as I would have liked. I'm gonna add probably a 2.5 just to get over 315. Rip that, get a little bit more set. I'll probably put something underneath the feet so I can drive off of it. I feel like it was a little on my toes. And then we'll kind of be done. I'll show the couple of accessories there. And honestly, we're probably not gonna do too much more today. I did most of these accessories yesterday morning with the squad. We got climbing tonight, but I got one more rant that I wanna get to with you guys. So we'll hit that. I'll hit 2.5, so we'll hit our 20 drop catches. I'll probably hit my rant during the 20 drop catches and get after this next set. Let's go. All right, no caffeine, but we got a new Zin in. We got some music playing. Should be able to rip this. Let's go. Woo! Woo! All right, that's a good one right, Max, right there. Holy shit. I'm gonna hit my 20 drop catches, then I'll show the accessories. Just do an extra set of the accessories. I finished those up a little bit before, just talk about them. And then let's go climb, let's get it. All right, so finish that up. That was a pretty good win. The bench press has been kind of exploding back, which has been nice. I don't know if you guys remember back when we just got back into the lifting grind. Again, we took like 8 to 9 months off lifting about a year ago now. Coming back, the barbell felt like absolute trash. But again, I think that's the importance of like having a big base, especially when you're young, especially when you're a high school student. If you're a high school kid watching right now, that strength comes back so fast, as long as you don't let it completely disintegrate, right? Like I took 8 to 9 months off, I came back and I was benching like, not 225, but it was pretty pitiful, it was bad. And as soon as I took benching serious again, it kind of exploded back up. It took a little bit to get used to that barbell and the weight of everything right there. But if you got that central nervous system wiring, man, and you've had that wired, the strength does come back. It's so much better and it's so much easier to come back to something rather than to like reach that next level. And I think it's so much easier to reach the next level when you're young and you have a bunch of time to reach max levels, right? So if you're a young high school student, really push those extremes on everything that you're doing. Your sprints, your jumps, your bench press, your squats, everything like that. Drive those numbers insanely high so that you don't really use them, and it's pretty easy to maintain them after you use them, and not only maintain them, but get back to those numbers again, right? One of the rants that I want to talk about was, I got this question was, is it useful to teach sprint mechanics, excel in top end to field sport athletes? And I don't know if this is my old age coming out now, if it's my more nuanced approach, or if I have just done a poor job of explaining this, because I know a lot of the stuff I talk about when it comes to sprinting is anti-sprint mechanics, anti-A skips, anti-B skips, anti-high knees. And it's just a sprint and sprint's a munch, right? And that's kind of my philosophy with a lot of stuff. That is not to say all of these mechanical things are worthless, right? Because to say that's worthless is telling me that there is no improvement that can happen, right? It's just a central nervous system game, which I don't believe is right. I found that out through my swing, right? Like if I have small tweaks in my swing, there's no strength gain. There's no really like explosion gain. It's a technical switch. It's the same with the snatch, right? If you have a technical switch in your snatch, something that fits better with you and your body, the snatch goes up easier. You can do more weight. You can express the outputs that you're able to express much easier. And the same with the sprints, right? Like if you're a super explosive, twitchy athlete and you have something mechanical that is keeping you from expressing that explosiveness, we got a problem. My issue with the A skips, the B skips, high knees, technical model approach is that many times it's not a fix for that specific athlete to allow them to express what they want to express. It's a blanket statement. It's a blanket fix to make things look cleaner, right? It's not to get that athlete faster. It's not to get that athlete to express the thing that they can't currently express. It's not to get rid of their kinks in their system. It's to fit your technical model. It's to fit the square peg of the athlete into your circular hole of a system, right? And I do have an issue with that. I do not believe that helps the athlete at all. I think it makes it look cleaner for you. I think it makes you feel more important as a coach, but I've seen so many athletes get slower fixing things, right? If you are working with an athlete and you see something that could actually allow them to express something, and a lot of times that's something as simple as like a strength deficit and they need to do more like sled sprints or chain sprints, or maybe it's a mobility issue where they can't get their hip in the right position, or maybe it is just an internal cue for them of something they need to think about when they're sprinting to get them into the positions that allow them to express what they want to express, then it is something that can be powerful and we should go and approach and shift, right? But again, I think it's more through the constraint-led approach, more through this individualistic approach of looking at where the athlete, the individual athlete is actually struggling and approaching and trying things there. not necessarily just applying an A skip because you think knees and hands need to be in a certain position when they sprint, because many athletes will perform and run worse and slower when you do those things, especially when it's something as primal and innate as sprinting, where it's a very fluid, very relaxed movement. The more you get athletes thinking about things, the slower you have those athletes have. And I have track athletes in here all the time that the number one constraint they need to do is to get the fuck out of their head, get the fuck out of the cues that they've been taught, get the fuck out of thinking their needs to be in a certain position. And when you put them in situation, let's say it is a race, or a lot of times it's even like a roll through a sensor to get up, and then they just naturally take off in their acceleration type positions, they run so much faster, they feel so much better, and they perform better, right? So again, I'm not against all these technical models. I think there are genius level sprint coaches out there. I just think a lot of mid-wits and non-genius level strength coaches take these genius level sprint coaches approach without understanding why that sprint coach took that approach with that individual athlete at that certain time, in that certain athlete's part of their career. And I think that's another big thing with these cues is certain cues, even with an individual athlete, can have different impacts depending on where that athlete is in their cycle of training, in the things they're struggling with that day. And sometimes the athlete just needs noise or less noise, one or the other, to get them out of their current skill hole that they're stuck in, right? And I found that in my own swing too when I'm swinging softball bats. And I like to relate a lot of things to softball because I'm doing so much of softball. If your main sport is sprinting, you're doing a ton of sprinting, right? Like I found things in softball where it's like that cue either works great or works like shit now, and it used to work great because of the current approach to my swing and the current thought process and what that cue means to me now, right? I think my biggest issue with the technical model is that we're blanket applying these fairy tale fixes to these athletes to feel important as coaches. We really haven't looked into why are we applying those approaches? Why is that a fix for the athlete? Why are we doing that drill with that athlete rather than just having every athlete do it? I think at the end of the day, especially the more, again, innate and primal that movement is, the more that athlete is going to have an individual movement solution to that movement problem. And the more we can encourage them to find whatever that is for them, the better. And again, maybe for some athletes, it is as simple as an A skip. I've never found it to where it is an A skip. I don't know if other coaches have found it to where it is an A skip or a high knee. But maybe it is as simple as that. And if that is it, that's amazing. I just have found so many athletes stuck in these technical models that don't really fit with who they are and how they sprint. And it actually slows them down and makes them worse. And I don't think that's the right approach to sports performance, right? Individual technique matters, not systemized technique, right? So let's get these 20 drop catch. We got 20 drop catch benches here. If we have to split this up into a couple sets, that's perfect. We just want 20 total drop catches here. Just kind of picked a random way. We'll see how this goes. Let's grip it. Oh, I'm losing that side. Shit, I should have put a clip on. Got 7 left. Push that on, take a tiny break, let's get it. Titties are on fire, let's get it. Holy shit. Ooh, come on. Ooh. Fuck. Titties are cramping. 2 more, here we go. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, that is a banger. I'm gonna show the couple accessories that we got with this, then we're gonna go climb. Let's get it. Then with those, we had 3 rounds of these wide stance. These are absolutely, I steal these, absolutely. Wide stance here. We're gonna dip to the side, we're gonna press, and we're gonna rotate open. Money maker for that spine. Core gets lit on fire. These feel like money. We're really gonna emphasize a lot of spinal mobility this offseason to really push that 120. I think our outputs are continuing to increase, and I want these outputs to increase while that spine mobility is increasing and while the swing technique is increasing, and I think we're gonna hit massive PRs in that swing. So we got 6 each side. We're gonna bend, we're gonna press, we're gonna rotate, open, feel that stretch in that hip and that spine, then we're gonna close it down. We got 6 of these. Oof. Oh, woo, those are spicy. Show these depth drop push-ups. Get out of here, let's go. All right, Then we got depth drop, plyo push-ups, dropping, sticking, coming back up, exploding back up here. Ideally, we go a little bit higher on these, but this fast velocity type movement is really bugging that elbow a little bit. So we're gonna take it and stay at this height. We have 3 of them. Let's go. Oof. Oh, the titties are on fire. Oof. 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 Boom. All right. Pretty simple day. Nice little easy upper body ripper. Hit some snatches tomorrow. We got our first day of dome ball tomorrow. Pretty excited about that. Hopefully get some good content there. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys putting up with my inconsistency this past week. We'll get after lifts. We'll get after these videos a little bit more. Training's been killing it. Softball's been killing it. Life is good right now. Let's continue to spread those good vibes. Let's go. Keep chopping wood.